Mike Moore Media.
Welcome to our monthly podcast with Seth Woodall from Seth M. Woodall and Associates, our Rockingham County firm with offices in Eden and Madison. And Seth is in the studio today. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, we have several things we want to talk about today, but it is International Criminal Day for International Criminal Justice. Day for International Criminal Justice. Wanted to make sure I word that correctly. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. That really comes down to promoting the rights of crime victims and the importance of upholding justice around the world, and the importance of that for sure, and how that really comes home to us here too, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about that. Okay, because we're looking at varying circumstances worldwide affecting, say, crime rates. I was looking at some stuff online about this, Seth, poverty levels and unemployment, and really the enforcement of laws, and our criminal justice system here compares to those around the world. It's a big difference sometimes, isn't it?
It's a huge difference, and I see this on a regular basis, and I think there's a misunderstanding sometimes about the criminal justice system here in North Carolina and in the United States. But overall, if you look at the research, the United States has the best criminal justice system in the world, but it is not without its own failures and problems, but we do have a pretty consistent and good criminal justice system.
Yeah. And one thing about the Day for International Criminal Justice, they're suggesting we look at ways people can advocate for victims of crime, and we're seeing more and more of that too, aren't we?
We are, and there's been I see in North Carolina, when we look at the criminal justice system, you mentioned a minute ago poverty levels. I think poverty and substance abuse and mental health issues in North Carolina and across the country really impact the level of criminal charges that you see. There's a big push. Most district attorney's offices, all district attorney's offices in North Carolina have a victims' rights coordinator that works directly with victims of crimes and tries to ensure that the process moves smoothly and that they're communicated with and understand the process, because sometimes it can be a very long and frustrating process for victims. But there's really been a push over the last couple of years to help bridge the gap between victims and justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So have you tweaked some things in your office in the last several years about this?
We try to. We try to have a hands-on approach as to how to address victims' rights. And, sometimes we're on the opposite side of that, and there's a perception that we're trying to push or advocate for a position that is, maybe not just, but that's simply not the case with our firm. We truly try to be there for our clients, but try to make sure that the right thing gets done at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Let's talk about your firm, because we haven't done that in a while. For people that may be new to the area, a lot of people are moving to Rockingham County. Building is booming and all of that. So I think maybe it would be a good time to reintroduce Seth M. Woodall and Associates. Tell us about your practice.
Sure. So we've got offices in Eden, North Carolina, Madison, North Carolina. We've got multiple attorneys in Eden. We've got 3 attorneys over in Madison. And overall, we pretty much handle a wide variety of legal issues for our community, ranging from simple traffic tickets to serious criminal charges, domestic cases, family law, personal injury, real estate, estate planning, estate administration. So between all of the attorneys there, we pretty much handle everything except disability and workers' compensation.
Mm-hmm. And we see plenty of that on TV commercials. They got you covered there.
They got us covered. They do.
Right, okay. Any particular areas that you really focus on more?
Myself, personally, I focus primarily on real estate and criminal, which is the opposite ends of the spectrum legally, but that's what I've been successful with and what I feel I'm best suited to do.
Yeah. And when you say, let's start with criminal, because we're kind of looking at that as this day anyway. What constitutes criminal and the term there?
Well, there's all sorts of things that could be considered criminal. Simple traffic tickets are lumped under criminal court. So anything from a speeding ticket, a parking ticket, all the way up to first-degree murder.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then when we're looking at real estate, what falls under that?
Oh, that too, a lot could fall into that. It can be as complex as you want it to be, but anything that's dealing with dirt and what's on the dirt is real estate. So we do a lot of closings, a significant number of closings, and it's been a good market for us over the last couple of years to really grow that area of the practice. But we also handle litigation concerning real estate, construction contracts, real estate contracts, partitions where there's maybe 5 or 6 children or cousins or nieces and nephews inherit property where there wasn't wills and they can't agree to a disposition or ownership, so they force a judicial sale. So if it involves real estate, we can handle it.
Yeah. Let's talk about one thing. We've touched on this before, but you just mentioned it there. The real estate and wills and lack therein of a will, and that can get kind of complicated and contentious and messy there sometimes, can it?
It can, and I think that's even more reason for individuals to establish a will and power of attorney. The legislature has passed statutes through what's called intestate succession. If you pass away without a will, there's basically a guideline as to who's going to inherit, and it just goes down kind of like a family tree. But the problem is, if it's not direct relatives, you're going to end up with multiple individuals from various parts of the state or country, various family relations, and a lot of times it just doesn't work. So if you want to make sure that your property, and that includes real estate and personal property, passes to certain individuals, the best thing you can do is try to get an estate plan set up.
Yeah. And that's not that complicated, is it?
It's really not. I mean, it can be as simple as you want it to be. I mean, a simple will and power of attorney and healthcare power of attorney is really what I think is most beneficial for parties. If you're looking at an intact family where you've got husband and wife, most of the time they leave everything to each other, and then after the survivor passes, it goes to the children equally, and then power of attorneys to each other, and then name one or more children to act on behalf of them for power of attorney purposes. So, I mean, it can be as simple or complex as you want it to be.
You mentioned health care. We hear a lot about that. What's involved there in making sure things are in place? As
far as a health care power of attorney, by statute, you can nominate someone to act on your behalf for health care purposes. They would make decisions in the event that you can't for minor medical procedures or serious medical procedures. But there's someone that you certainly need to trust and that you think will have your best interest at heart when they make the decision. But I do think it's critical to have.
Yeah. And if someone is listening and they want to take care of that, don't put it off any longer. Just call your office, make an appointment.
They can. There's a number of attorneys at either the Eden office or Madison office, whichever is more convenient to the potential client. But we're more than willing to sit down and try to help create a comprehensive estate plan. And again, it can be as simple as just a couple of documents naming 1 or 2 people, all the way up to the most complicated trust you could imagine.
Yeah. And you've told us about some of the things that you specialize in, but there are attorneys in both of your offices that specialize in other areas.
Yeah, well, that's correct. We don't have anybody that specializes in anything as far as the state bar recognizes certain individuals who meet certain qualifications for a specialty, and that's all they do.
Mm-hmm, okay.
In Rockingham County, there's the demographics is difficult to specialize in something because you have a wide variety of people coming in with all sorts of issues, and so it's hard to just say, I specialize in this, and it's all I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about how you got to where you are today and your law firm, and maybe your interest in that. What perked your interest way back?
I don't know, but as far back as I can recall, that's what I wanted to do. And
really?
So, okay. I had set my mind to do it, and that's just what I did.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate. Jimmy Walker was, I grew up next to his mother and was close to his family, and his father started the law firm that I now own back in the 1930s. Jimmy joined his father in the 60s, and he's still there today. And so I had a kind of a direct line to a job straight out of law school, so I'm appreciative of Jimmy and his family for certain.
Yeah. I read something recently. When you find your passion, you found your purpose.
That's what they say, and I think I found it.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. and you're looking at that law office in Madison. That's been there a long time, too.
It has. I'm not certain when Mr. Tucker started that. He had previously been partners with Lon Folger, and it was Folger and Tucker for a number of years. I would say 40.
Yeah.
And so I bought him out last May, so it's been just over a year, and he still maintains a very active practice there.
Okay. Well, before we wrap up, and we're going to take a turn here off of the legal end of things and talk a little bit about the farmhouse, because you just had a very successful event there to celebrate Independence Day.
We did. So the farmhouse is another one of our ventures. My wife and I had purchased that farm a couple of years ago, renovated the former 912 Bethlehem restaurant into a venue, and so we have been operating for a year or so, and it's really starting to grow. We've got an excellent property manager there. Christy Benton took over not all that long ago and has really jumped in with both feet and hit the ground running, and I can't say enough good about what she's done.
And you've had some wonderful events there, weddings and celebrations of all kinds.
We have. Anything from family reunions, birthday parties, weddings, any event that you can imagine, retirement parties. This July 3rd, we held an independence party. I called it a Patriots party. Mm-hmm. But we did that on July 3rd so as to not intervene or get in the way of the 4th of July celebrations that others do. And it was a phenomenal turnout. I think we sold 350 tickets. We had food, we had live music, and fireworks. And from what I've heard, we probably had one of the best fireworks show in the state on July 3rd.
I've heard that from a number of people who were there.
We tried to make it big so that people would talk about it and that we could get some more interest in the venue.
Will you be doing more events like that?
We are. I think after seeing the success that we had on July the 3rd, it's our intent to every couple of months do a community event and invite the community just like we did on July 3rd, and I think it'll continue to be a success, and that's what we plan to do.
Yeah. So if someone is interested in having an event there at the farmhouse, what do? They
could call Christy Benton. We have a telephone number. If you get online, there's a Facebook page, there's a website, and there's an email, info at the farmhouse. If you get on, you can ask any questions, call Christy, and I feel certain that she would get right back with you and provide any information necessary.
Wonderful. Okay. So Christy Benton there at the farmhouse. And that's nice to have that right here in Rockingham County. We don't need to go outside of the area, and just it's close by.
It is. It's right off of Harrington Highway in Eden, right outside the Eden city limits. We've got about 138 acres there, and so the backdrop is just absolutely gorgeous for any kind of event. There's some outdoor patios. The view is phenomenal, and so I think it's going to continue to be a great success for not only us but for the community.
I just wrote down 138 acres. I don't think I had that in my notes. I didn't realize you had much.
Yeah, we've got 138 acres is what I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. Okay, well, before we finish up, the best way to get in touch with you for your law practice?
Probably make a telephone call to the office and schedule an appointment. I'm very old school in the sense that I like to sit down and meet face-to-face and speak to people and understand their needs. My telephone number at the Eden office is 336-623-3138. Okay,
and I'm on your Facebook page right now, and that is easy to get to. Seth M. Woodall and Associates, PLLC. What's PLLC?
It's a professional limited liability company.
Okay. Seth M. Woodall and Associates on Facebook. Go there for all of the contact information as well. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I will just leave one more note about the farmhouse. If you want to contact Christy Benton, the farmhouse telephone number is 336-613-5247.
Okay, give us that one more time.
It's 336-613-5247.
For the farmhouse. Okay. Seth, always good to have you in the studio. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that's our monthly podcast with Seth M. Woodall, Seth M. Woodall and Associates in Eden and Madison.